Good morning from Manchester. I made it 5:30 a.m. start, which if you know me, you will know how painful that will have been for me. But I got here. We just had the session on apprenticeships, which was amazing. I'm a massive fan of the solicitor apprenticeship as another way of qualifying if you're a school leaver without a degree. We've just been hearing from some really inspirational apprentices. One from the BBC who was telling us all about her journey from having been too nervous to fill in a UCAS form and feeling totally overwhelmed by the idea of going to university to now being a fully fledged solicitor with the BBC, confident, ambitious, loads of influence on the business, and just a really heartwarming story. Plus we've been hearing from some educators and law firms as well, talking about their experiences with apprenticeships and everything they have to offer. So I'm so glad that as a profession we're embracing that, because I can't speak highly enough of the apprenticeship route and how well thought of that is now in the current climate. So we're just grabbing a quick tea now because we're running slightly over time, and then we're going to go back in and talk about the SQE, which is another one of my favourite things, so I will definitely report back after that one.
So from my perspective, and echoing what Chris said, this is not about lawyers learning to code. There are no-code and low-code platforms all over the place. You don't need that anymore. This is about lawyers having the skills that they need to enable them to apply technology to serve their clients better. And why do we care about this? Well, because all lawyers, whether you're in a magic circle firm, whether you're working for an alternative legal service provider, or whether you're in a high street firm, have to be aware that the legal services landscape is shifting fundamentally under our feet. And our response to this kind of seismic change can't just be, business as usual. Despite all of that, what law firms, or rather what their clients want from their lawyers, actually hasn't changed very much. Technical legal excellence is always going to be paramount. That's never ever going to change. But this is expected now. It's like a sort of, hygiene factor, if you like. What clients are really looking for is a lawyer that can understand their business, understand the challenges they face, understand the risks that they face. And we all know that business is changing, right? Digitization is changing the way things work. New technologies, new platforms, new entrants to the market. It's radically revolutionary change.
It's very different. I think what we definitely see is that there's a bit of a skills gap around using those core tools. We often see students who go into practice and can't use things like Lexis Library and Lexis PSL to do the basic research as well as they could do. But those are still the tools that they use in law firms 90% of the time today. And the legal tech solutions are so disparate, and so there's so much differentiation. It's hard to pin down, I should learn this tool or that. But actually, and to return to the previous question about the sound and the noise, and is it just hype in press releases? Legal tech is really hard to get right, but some of the core stuff is much easier. And LexisNexis work with law firms up and down the country every day, because if you can use practical guidance really well, or if you can use a drafting tool which automatically picks up some errors and some inconsistencies, you can get 10-20% improvements in efficiency and freeing up time. And when law firms are under cost crunches, that's actually something worth shouting about. No one's writing a press release about that because it's a bit boring, but that's what's going to deliver for law firms today while we wait for legal tech to pan out. So I think students need to focus on that while still building those core transferable skills, such that when they enter the market in 3 or 5 years, they're able to adapt to whatever the technology is that's in situ.
Just had a session on legal tech, which was obviously immense because I loved it. Had a few people I recognise on the panel and have met before, primarily at Legal Geek. So it was really interesting and really echoed what I've always said about law tech and legal tech, which is it's not so much about learning to code or learning how to use AI or the specific types of technology. It's more about understanding how technology applies to the clients you're advising and how it applies to your business, so you can help deliver a better service to your clients, a more efficient service to your clients, and you can understand the technology that they're using in their businesses. So it's a much more holistic understanding of technology and not so much about training people to learn the tech tools or design the tech tools, because that is for a separate sector, that's for the technologists to do, and we just have to learn how to apply it in the legal market. And there was a huge focus on talking about broadening your skill set and being flexible, being adaptable, because we don't know exactly how technology is going to affect the market in the future. We don't know what technologies are going to emerge and how they're going to affect the market. So it's really important to be flexible and be able to adapt to whatever changes technology brings or other changes in the marketplace, and this is exactly what I've said in previous videos, which will appear up here if you want to watch those. So it's been a really, really interesting day so far, and really, really resonated with me and a lot of things that I've been saying previously. So looking forward to this afternoon. Just going to grab a little bit of lunch, hopefully catch up with a few familiar faces that I've seen dotted around the audience, and I'll check in with you in a bit.
SQE still remains absolutely on target for 2021. We are fully working ahead to run the first round of SQE1 assessments autumn 2021 and SQE2 assessments for the first time in spring 2022. Where are we in our programme of work? We've published now the SQE1 assessment specification for the functioning legal knowledge assessments, and we've also published sample questions, a big bank of sample questions, and last week or the week before last, I and a colleague from Caplan's academic team recorded a webinar going through some of those questions, some of the queries that have been raised through social media about those questions, because actually it was that some of those the queries raised really good, helpful questions about the purpose and rationale and thinking behind the drafting of those questions. So those resources are out there for you. That's the update. Let's move on now to a focus on qualifying work experience. And I want to focus on qualifying work experience for the point that Victoria made earlier, which is that we spend a lot of time thinking about SQE, quite rightly, but it's only one piece of the jigsaw puzzle. And in many ways, how this works out and how it works for law firms is going to, in particular, is going to depend a lot on qualifying work experience.
So what about the cost then?
Yeah, so moving on to the cost. As I say, the contract was written to ensure that we have value for money, and that's really critically important. In terms of the cost of training, well, we will see different routes come through. We've already seen the apprenticeship, and we've heard from the, I think it was Megan who said it in her presentation, that the beauty of that route is that it's a fully funded route, so nobody need be able to be prevented from going through that route because of money. So we've already got that route coming online. We've also got the opportunity for universities to embed SQE1 training within their law degree, so that's a fully funded route. We've got private courses that are coming on which look as though they are going to be more competitive and cheaper than the LPC, even taking into account the cost of the SQE. But
Can we just bring in Victoria at that point? Because I think we've got to, because she is one of those courses, one of those new courses. I mean, BARBRI has published some rough figures online.
Yeah, I'm prepared to put my head above the parapet on this, because I was actually going to cover it in my talk until I got the signal I was overrunning. The SQE have said that the cost of the exams is going to be between £3,000 and £4,500. With that in mind, but also because we're not a traditional law school, we don't have the bricks and mortar and the teaching staff that other providers have when it comes to setting costs. We deliver our courses as a blended learning model, which gives us a little bit more scope to be perhaps more cost effective. We don't know exactly what either SQE1 or SQE2 are going to look like, so please don't hold me to this, but we are looking to try and get the entire cost of qualification for SQE1, including the exam fees, on or around the £10,000 mark, so that students who need it can avail themselves of loan funding. And that means that our prep courses are going to be around the £6,000 mark, and that does, please be clear, depend upon whether there's skills in SQE1 and what SQE2 looks like, but that's the kind of amount that we're looking at.
Well, the headline session just occurred, the most anticipated one of the day about the SQE. Lots of really interesting speakers. Julie Brannan from the SRA's Head of Training and Development, she was speaking about the updates that we have to SQE, and we do have some updates to SQE1, so we now know what it's going to look like. It's going to be 360 multiple choice questions, 11-hour exam over 2 days. So that is the lowdown on SQE1. That works out as approximately 1.8 minutes per question, and it's a long slog, so it's going to be a tough exam. It's not going to be easy. You get 5 possible answers for each question, obviously 1 correct answer, but 4 potential deflectors that could be the answer, so you have to pick the best answer out of the 5. It sounds like it's going to be tricky, but number of different subject areas covered within it. I will post some guidance about this underneath from the SRA, so that you can see exactly what you're up against if you are thinking about doing the SQE. SQE2 still a little bit up in the air in terms of what it's going to cover, and they will be continuously posting more guidance about this as and when it becomes available. Again, I'll link the SRA website in the description below so you can have a look at what's going on. Lots of talk about how law firms are looking at the SQE, still a lot of unknowns, still not a lot of commitment to a definite programme from many law firms as to how they're going to recruit for trainees and NQs in the future as a result of the SQE, but it's still looking set for 2021 because it has to tie in with the apprenticeship programme, so that's still looking like the definite implementation date. Again, if that changes, I will let you know. The SRA will also let you know on their website, but really good session, really engaging, loads of good questions, and I'll keep you posted on the SQE as and when more info becomes available.
SQE, as we've touched on, is just a plain canvas for you to paint your own picture. Whether you're a firm, whether you're an educator, whether you're a student, whether you're a solicitor, wherever you sit, it is just a blank canvas. There is the minimum framework in place that the regulator needs, and you can take that where you need. That should suit you, should suit your firm, it should suit your institution. So, lots of people will make different choices. Some will choose to carry on pretty much as they are. Some will choose to innovate quickly. Some will take their time. That is choice that is at the heart of the competitive market, and that is the choice that I think we all want to encourage.
That is a wrap, folks. Legal Ed Con North is finished. What a day. So much good stuff, so much useful information. I'm going to be doing a follow-up video about the SQE on this as well, and my thoughts on it after today, because I've been holding off for a while because I wanted to see what was said at this conference. So I'm going to give you the lowdown in a few weeks' time, just so you know what I'm thinking about it. So that is it, we're done. I'm going to go have a nice little drink at the bar so I can switch off and get back home to Brum. Hope you guys like this. Catch up with you again soon. Bye.